Welcome to Off the Bench. It's your host Jabari. Joining me on the other line is Xavi. What up, X?
Hey, what's up? Just holding it down in the 305 as usual.
Well, I'm in a great mood this week.
A really, really good mood. Hey.
Rally round the West Indies. Now and forever. Yo, I can't sing for anything. And that's okay. Because I'm super excited. Tell the people why we're excited, X.
One, why I'm not excited, they need to retire that song.
Dude.
It done. I'll be the one to say it. DJ Bravo sing champion. Rally had it time. Retire it.
So you like champion more?
Hell yeah. Rally ain't got no dance.
That's true. True.
But the reason why these songs is important is because, you know, the great, the magnificent, the return to dominance by the West Indies cricket team, actually winning over England in the T20 World Cup finals.
Yes, sir. Not only that, we had a historical and momentous achievement by not even doubling. We drop a triple-double, no assists, and by no assists, we might be talking about the West Indies Cricket Board, but that's a different topic for later on. Triple-double, no assists by sweeping
in
the 2020 for this year. So that's the under-20 team, the men's team, and the female team. For the first time in history, for the second episode in a row, Mama, we made it. We out here.
Hey, but I think that's what put so much pressure on the men's team to win. Is that the under-19 had already did it. The women's team had already did it, and they were in the stands. Like the women actually did it like just before. They're in the stands with the trophy, dancing, looking on. You know, they're cheering, but you still gotta see them already holding their medallions and the gold pieces. So you already know, well, the pressure on us to complete it. And when I say pressure, it's real pressure that was on them. It laid down when they had like 9 balls to go. I thought we get digging with eye. You know, big up my brethren, Kelvin. Kelvin said he see us down like that, and he said, why? I just down a cup of Hennessy right there.
Dude, let me tell you something. Let me try to explain. Because I haven't been the biggest cricket fan in my life. But my pops is. And part of the reason why I haven't been as big of a supporter of West Indies cricket as I would like to be is because somehow, somewhere, some way, we always manage to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And it's been happening over and over and over and over. Somehow I'm going to find a way to loop this. And over and over. I probably should loop this for the next 3 minutes. But you get the point.
Yeah.
You get the point. But in the clutch, Carlos Brathwaite, a.k.a. the new Six God. And by a.k.a., I mean I just gave him that name 20 seconds ago.
Hey,
coming through, 19 runs in the last over needed. Six. Sounding like a Drake record. You understand? I had the whole Caribbean / West Indian / Ribena loving diaspora going ham on a Sunday. Like ham. I was actually in church while this happened, and I wasn't paying attention at the last part. God forgive me. I'm going to keep it 100. But I go to a church where there's a lot of Caribbean people that attend there. And while this was happening, my phone was literally exploding. Exploded with messages. Yo, 6. Another one. So I actually stepped out like, what's happening? And then I kid you not. As I passed the foyer back into the church, like 10 people were pumping their fists, looking down, looking down at their laps. So I didn't feel so bad anymore.
Don't worry, man. Jesus loved cricket too, you know. That's a fan, and you know his favorite team, West Indies.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because we end in dramatic fashion, just like the crucifixion. We come back, we bring it back right there. 3 days later, West Indies slap them out for the sixes.
But the celebration seemed to be a little bit short-lived, in my opinion. Because after the champagne flowing, the Carib flowing... Well, you think they had Carib in India? Nah, they probably don't.
Nah.
Okay. The post-falafel meal. After all that, Darren Sammy, the captain of the 2020 team, came out and basically roasted the West Indies cricket board. He roasted them. And this is what he said, and I'll quote, "We have 15 match winners. Nobody gave us a chance, but every game, somebody stepped up big and took responsibility. To see Carlos play like that in his debut World Cup, it's just tremendous. It shows the depth we have in the Caribbean in 2020 cricket, and hopefully with the right structure and development, our cricket will continue to improve in one day and in test cricket. People were wondering whether we would play this tournament. We had a lot of issues. We felt disrespected by our board. Matt Nicholas described our team as a team with no brains. All these things before the tournament just brought this team together. I really want to thank these 15 men, the ability to just put all those adversities aside and to come out and play this type of cricket in front of such passionate fans. It's just tremendous." Not only that, he went on to say, "Last, I really want to thank the heads of CARICOM, and this is where it gets super interesting. Throughout this tournament, they have been supporting the team. We've got emails, we've got phone call. Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, who's the Prime Minister of Grenada, he sent a very inspiring email for the team this morning. But I'm yet to hear from our own cricket board. That's very disappointing." What are your thoughts on this?
Now, this is where it can be a little strange, because a lot of people, they're going to be mad there and say, oh, Darren Sammy just up there just forming the fool, just making a fool and just showing himself out there when he talking to the media and the critics and stuff. And I think even the president, Cameron, when he was talking, he said that the critics don't pay you, so why you talking to them? I ain't looking at it from that angle. I'm looking at it from the angle that these guys have a job as cricketers. We could talk about, is a Caribbean pride and stuff like that. But after all that Caribbean pride, they still got to come home.
Right.
They still got to wake up in the morning and their bills still going to be coming in at the door. So they still need to get paid. Now, I don't feel, especially with the economy of the Caribbean, I don't feel that we could pay them the same amounts that they would get from like the Indian Premier League and stuff like that. But the fact that the West Indies Cricket Board has allowed this, like, I don't even find that there's a negotiation going on to like better the relationship between them, because then you have issues with stuff like they're out in Saudi Arabia already and they ain't got no uniforms. They said they had to go to Calcutta to get uniforms printed.
So here are the facts. And it's important to try to frame his comments in a holistic view, all the information that we have. So here are the facts. Fact A, and some people say facts don't matter, but facts do matter. Just like bun and cheese, facts matter. So, fact A, 2 weeks before the tournament, the manager of the West Indies 2020 team had to source jerseys of his own accord for them to practice, because they were practicing in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks before the tournament, and up to then had not received any type of jerseys for them to practice in or play in, because they had practice matches leading up to the tournament. That's fact A. Fact B, Last summer, I don't know if you remember this, but the West Indies team staged a walkout.
Yeah.
Right before tour in India, where the players left the tour right before their first match because of the rift that was between them and the cricket board. Fact C, and it's important to argue both sides. In 2013, the total sum of the West Indies Cricket Board retained earnings was $128,000, which, to put it in perspective, is about a quarter of the amount they spent on balls and gear in the next 12 months after that. The year before that, meaning 2012, the cricket board was reportedly $5,693,000 in debt. All of these things are very important. That's what we know for certain. What we don't know for certain is to what extent the rift runs, how deep it is. And it would seem from my angle, and from various reports leaking here and there in the media, we're hearing the shushu, ding, Eske word number 2, we're keeping it hot. Shushu.
The shushu rumors.
The shushu rumors that the cricket board seems to have a personal vendetta, or rather, the big dogs, the big boys club, the good old boys club, meaning Clive Lloyd and David Cameron, the chairman and the director of the cricket board, seem to have personal vendettas against Pollard and Gale and Sammy and Dwayne Bravo. It would seem that way to me, and we've been seeing media leaks, to support this over the past, actually, 3 or 4 years. Now, here's the thing. This is a multifaceted issue, and it's very complex. And a lot of people seem to think that although his comments were not inappropriate, they were wrongly timed.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree with that to some level. To some level.
Okay, well, let's say there's some level, because I think this is the perfect time.
How the saying goes, let's use a Caribbean euphemism. You shouldn't wash your drawers in a public. In other words, don't air the dirty laundry where everybody can see it. Now here's my thing. Obviously, Sammy has been frustrated and is continuing to be frustrated by Cameron and Lloyd over a period of years. Obviously, there's some type of miscommunication issue between the West Indies Cricket Board and the players. And it seems primarily over A, money, and B, communication. However, in terms of airing his comments publicly on an international stage, it would seem, in my opinion, that he did this strategically for the whole world to hear about the plights of West Indies cricket and the West Indies cricket professional cricket players. Now, one might argue, and you may have a valid point, that everybody has issues. You may say the Indian players may have issues, the Australian players may have issues, South African players may have issues, and they don't air their business in the media. That's unprofessional, etc., etc. You may have a point there. However, when you begin to do your research, look at the facts, and see the amalgamation is like a dam was building. And I find it a shame, honestly, that it had to come to this.
Yeah.
It had to break and burst into the point where Sammy basically had to air out Cameron and Lloyd and the West Indies Cricket Board at large.
And I think that's something that's people missing. People looking at it as is the wrong time for him to say it. But then my follow-up question is, when is the right time?
Right.
When is the time he can have leverage? Because he's saying these things when he's still hopped up off adrenaline, winning. And that's the thing. The key thing here, he's saying these things while the team is still winning. So the argument of this being a frustration of the team losing or something, that's not happening. So it is a very complex issue. There's a lot of different angles. You have to look at the economy of the Caribbean. the debt that the West Indies Cricket Board is facing, but then also look at the fact that why is there such a rift? Because it couldn't be just about pay. Guys still they're still signing up, and even with all these other lack of resources, they're still there trying to find these alternative measures. Like guys like Dwayne Bravo, who sing the song Champion, like he was out there networking with a lot of people, and people love the West Indian style of players, the meaning that it is having West Indies beating England and these other places. Like there is like a historic meaning for us beating them. But people just trying to make a very complex issue way too simple. Because they're just saying like, oh, he need to hush. How he can get his money now? He need to just play the sport. And people talking about playing the sport, but as you know, I would ask them, if you boss tell you that we ain't paying you for this project,
right?
Everybody gonna be like, no, that can't happen.
Not gonna be able to do it.
And that's what I'm saying. We are talking about other people's money. That always leads to very complex issues.
Okay, so in part 2 of Facts Don't Matter But Sawfish Does, the West Indies Cricket Board issued a statement. A very interesting statement, right? The president would like to, however, apologize for what could have been deemed appropriate comments made by the West Indies male captain Darren Sammy in a post-match interview, and would like to apologize on behalf of the West Indies Cricket Board to the millions of fans who witnessed this. The president has pledged to inquire. Sorry if I'm laughing during this, right? But bear with me. You're probably laughing too. The president has pledged to inquire the reason and will have the matter addressed in an official statement. This is another fact. So we have the West Indies Cricket Board putting out a statement apologizing on behalf of Sammy when he didn't apologize himself. Okay, this is the same guy. This is the same guy, meaning David Cameron, who last year had to apologize after retweeting a comment on Twitter. Remember, folks, if you remember nothing else from listening to this, social media gets you in trouble. So last year, and this is hilarious too, Cameron retweeted a comment from a supporter that Chris Gayle should be given a retirement package after he scored a few runs, or a low amount of runs, in a test match last year. I can't talk again. I'm getting too excited again. These are the facts. We don't know everything that's going on behind closed doors, but we do know all the things that I just said, plus more. So my point is that we should not jump to judgment of Sammy. We should not even jump to judgment of the West Indies Cricket Board, even though I might be doing it a little bit right now.
Yeah. But hey, as you just said, just don't jump to judgments. You know what you should jump to? You should jump to Dwayne Bravo song, DJ Bravo, champion. Hey,
champion. Hey. Dude, I literally saw a dude, right, dance so much he climbed up and hoisted himself.
In St. Vincent.
Right, you saw it, right? Shout out to Vincey Mass. Yo, 2022 we're going to Vincey Mass, dog. I'm in it. Nah?
Dog, them years I might be married, you know. I'm gonna walk with my wife, so yeah.
So I don't see the problem here. We could, champion. Well, hopefully we'll have a few more, 2020 under our belts. Maybe not another 3-peat, triple-double, no assists. Maybe not another one of those, but
couple more championships.
Yeah, hopefully, and then we'll go down. We'll be hanging from banisters in the roof, swinging champion or whatever hot song is out.
And just a small shout out. I gotta big up the 503 team, big up the team on the inside. They were the ones who was watching the game, and that's how you know how crunk and live things was here in the 305.
Dog, how can you keep remembering all these damn area codes though? This is the second episode that you, like last one you said, what's the Bahamas? Anyway.
242.
Be who you is, dog, not who you are.
Not who you are. We're gonna keep it moving. As we move on, we're gonna be talking about something that is a very serious matter, but in reading it, all I see is these jokes.
In other words, we're going to be making jokes of a serious matter, as we do always.
Hey, I on a hot streak. Like, I made jokes about suicide victims and lesbians eating hot dogs, Hey,
What else?
It's life. It's life. But this time we're going to Prairie View A&M. That's a university. And they fired their women's basketball coach, Don Brown. So you would be thinking, okay, why did they fire her?
People get fired every day, B.
Yeah, people lose their jobs every day, B. She had a 13-15 record, middling record, but she wasn't fired because of her record.
No.
The issue was that she was specifically fired because of a potential Title IX violation. And that's cooled down by the school because they fired her. How are you going to sue us if we fired the person you were suing? Everybody's supposed to win, right? Well, this ain't a show where we talk about much W's. West Indies is the only W we talk about.
Triple-double, no assists, boy.
So, the thing is, Brown suspended 2 of her players because they were in a relationship.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, the reason she suspended them is because she created a rule, a team-wide rule, that the coaches all were under the rule that you are not allowed to be in relationships. So that goes from men to women or same sex. Once you're in a relationship, you ain't on her team. Like, you can't be in a relationship with someone else who is in the team.
Before we break this down, what the heck is Title IX? So Title IX, for our listeners, is a legislation enacted in 1972 that prohibits sexual discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So it's more or less a protection for the LGBT community. Universities cannot discriminate against them for being a member of this LGBT community. And that's what they were using to rain down their judgment on Dawn Brown. No, the rule that she enforced was, I don't think it was actually created by her, although it seems unclear. Research would show, would indicate that it might have been a rule before. And frankly, this isn't the first time we've ever heard of a rule like this, right? So it's not like she was reinventing the wheel here, or the university was reinventing the wheel here by saying, look, no co-ed relationships between players, between, coaches, between the administration, between, the ball boys, the jokes keep coming, between anybody. And this is a female team. Between anybody.
I don't think the ball boys have a chance with any of the lesbian players. Just saying.
Dude, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
Love don't ask why.
You on a roll. Love don't ask why. So, her agent, Gary Rosenfeld, right? And it had to be a guy named Gary. Says, my client was unfairly targeted. We definitely think this is a case of scapegoating. My client feels betrayed, and she was unjustly penalized because she was merely upholding a rule set by the university that was communicated to the players beforehand.
No, this is the thing. Everybody, look, I do understand, there's discrimination, especially because of gender, especially in sports, something that is seen very masculine. Guys go with girls, that's the rule. The sports is generally slow to change, but
just
as
like
of
life.
as of late, they've been making strides because, the NBA, the NFL, they ain't really about all this. They're about the money. So, as Michael Jordan said, when people were talking about him being Democrats or Republicans, he said, hey, Republicans buy sneakers too. So the NBA, the NFL, NCAA, they're saying, yo, We ain't really care. We out here because of this money.
Yep.
And yo, you gonna tell me that gay people money ain't green? You gonna tell me that people of different religions money ain't green? So it's not about the discrimination. The rule was there. The rule is leveled against both men and women equally. You're not supposed to have a relationship with somebody else who's a coach or a teammate. It might be a little difficult for some because, you know, at universities, you know, they got a lot of
hormones,
you know,
drugs, alcohol.
A lot of things happen at universities, especially when a lot of the same people seeing each other. So just like how you would make an argument for an organization, somebody would say, oh, all those people in that organization, they're doing the naughty together with each other.
As my uncle would say, if sticks rub together long enough, somebody gonna catch fire.
Yeah. So the fire is this argument that once they're rubbing together. So y'all need to look at it this way. Everybody focusing on the good times, the happy times when they're together. What about when they break up? And that's a thing. I think that's what the rule was created. Not about the team within the team, because, you know, if me and my girlfriend on a basketball team, you know, I trying to give her a couple extra passes, you know. I gotta let these people know, you know, I'm out here, my chick look good, you know. But when she not my girlfriend, she gonna score off the inbound because she ain't getting no passes from me.
You could imagine both of them are on their monthly, and they're not talking to each other, and they're on the court, and they're freezing on each other, so they pass into the other three teammates and not each other, even if, you know, they're open. Or you could imagine a layup line with these two.
Like the second one person, one of the girls lay up, she just said, "Why you don't get your own rebound?"
Your own, like so she lets the rebound go, and then it hits her assistant coach in the head, and then somebody gets sued. Yo, it could get ugly in there.
It could get ugly. But this is my thing. I have a rule in that I do not date somebody I'm working with.
Really?
Date. Like a relationship.
Disclaimer alert.
Yeah, like the whole nine, like, you know.
Relationship goals.
Yeah.
Selfie game on.
There are no relationship goals while me and you work at the same job. Like, that's just how it is. I ain't putting no fences on other stuff, but directly for sure. No relationship.
I'm quiet.
And it is for that exact reason, in that what gonna happen when the relationship ain't there no more. Hey, you know what else we're looking at? At the end of the relationship, every time you look, like, no matter who your ex gets with, you're gonna be like, really? That's who they choose? Now imagine that on the team. Imagine you starting point guard and starting center break up. And now the point guard dating the sixth man or woman off the bench.
Shout out to us.
Hey, off the bench, small formal. But it just creates so much complexities that I feel they should be talked about, but I don't think there were people losing their jobs for yet.
Imagine social media, right? If these two break up. Imagine social media. So
that's the thing.
So they go through Facebook, right? And they delete all the pictures of each other. But they can't really delete the team picture. So they might just crop out. Out their ex-girlfriend or partner, depending on how they want to be identified, right?
Mm-hmm. When they take these pictures, they're going to just like put the Jordan coin face over the X face.
And then all of a sudden, you know, the status changed conspicuously.
Mm-hmm. But hey, all these jokes we're making, if this was two guys, ain't no jokes to have. Nobody trying to hear these jokes. ESPN ain't running no jokes. Nobody trying to hear no jokes. And guess what? It's gonna happen soon. It's gonna happen.
I'd rather not talk about that. So, with that, let's move on and keep it on the LGBT community, who getting a lot of love from off the bench.
From you?
From off the bench. Meaning the Prairie View bench. The Prairie View bench. Or the bench that the coach is going to be sitting on in the courthouse after the players sue. And by the way, that's coming up in the pipelines. So the Georgia governor, Nathan Deal, has until May 3rd to reject or sign a new religious liberty bill passed by state legislature. House Bill 757 would allow employers and businesses to deny services or jobs on the basis of behavior that conflicts with religious beliefs, raising concerns about LGBT rights. So the NFL, Roger Goodell, back in business, has strongly suggested, so they're leaking things to the media, saying that the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and that's Atlanta's stadium that's under construction, scheduled to open
$1.3 billion.
Right. Scheduled to open next year, 2017, putting them out of consideration to host a Super Bowl. So we come back to the money now.
Hey.
Dollar bills, y'all.
That's the thing. Like, I understand when people be talking and they're saying how sports has a way to impact us and make changes in society and just change the outlook and people's decision and behavior. And yeah, that's all nice and fine and dandy. But guess what? You know what really making these changes? This money. You think Atlanta gonna build a $1.3 billion stadium using the owner and tax dollars from the general public, and they ain't gonna have a Super Bowl?
Nope.
And they ain't gonna have the college FBS finals?
Nope.
When people are talking about like the Missouri thing with the football team band together and they made this change and Missouri is gonna have discussions and the chancellor got fired and all these other people had to step down.
Right.
I was like, that's nice, but they didn't do it because it's the football team and they like football. They do it because it was gonna cost them millions not to go that game.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened right here in Atlanta. Like, I could go out there and make a fool, but you ain't gonna make a fool in front of this money.
You dig? No. Last year, Atlanta was named one of the 4 finalists to host the 2019 and 2020 Super Bowls. And the selection is scheduled for this May. Shout out to the Mayborn people, me being one, bloop, bloop, bloop. So, the stadium has already locked up, or so they thought, and more on that later. Multiple other big events, including the College Football Playoff National Championship in 2018, and an agreement with the SEC to extend Atlanta as the host of the SEC Championship through 2026. But it gets more complicated. Pending the passage of this bill, both the SEC and the College Football National Championship Playoff Committee released the following statements regarding the potential passage of House Bill 757. And I'll quote Greg Sankey, the SEC Commissioner. Our conference championship events are an extension of our universities, which are places of diversity and opportunity. We are attentive to this legislative matter as we continue our policy of considering numerous factors in determining sites for our championship events. So I'm going to say that last sentence, right? For those of you who might have missed it. We are attentive to this legislative matter as we continue our policy of considering numerous factors in determining sites for our championship events, right? In other words, the ink ain't dried on the contract yet. And we could rip up this in a second.
We could rip this paper and leave y'all up here making a fool without this money. That's what he tried to tell them.
So Bill Hancock, the president of the National Football Playoff Championship, he comes out and says, we deplore discrimination wherever it occurs and note that there is a public debate about this matter and its implications. Here goes that public scrutiny again. Shout out to Roger Goodell. As well as whether or not it will become law. We will keep an eye on this, but our group focus is on sports, and public policy matters are better left to the experts and voters to resolve.
AKA, we just watching y'all because y'all gonna look broke. You could choose that law, but we're gonna get this money. And we talking about it because of the sports issue, but people need to understand it wasn't just the NFL and the college football playoffs and the NCAA against this. Like, this is something that Black Hollywood, as in movies, a lot of movies have started being shot in Atlanta.
No, that's not the Wiz Khalifa album.
And they're saying, what? This is the rule? I guess we're going to move all this money out of Atlanta. Like, we're going to go shoot these videos elsewhere. And as a city, Atlanta does have a large population that is LGBTQA, because you have allies. And this bill, if you want to say is against them and stuff like that, cool. What we hear at Off the Bench saying is that bill, the reason why the governor said that he's going to veto it is because it's against money. How he gonna get back his seat if Atlanta ain't got no money?
Right. So the Georgia World Congress Center estimates that the SEC championship created a 1 billion, that's billion with a B, as in my grade point average, economic impact on Atlanta from 1999 to 2014. A span of 16 sold-out games at $62.5 million per event. That's $1 billion. Billion as in bees, as in if Parus and Crips all got along, those kind of bees, as in the birds and the bees.
And that's just for that event. That's not the Super Bowl. Not saying that the Super Bowl generates so much more than it, because I feel like the college football playoff does generate just as much, if not slightly more. But you tell me you're going to lose the college football, you're going to lose the Super Bowl, you're going to lose all this money from these movies, and you're going to be over here just because you feel like you need to protect your religion and discriminate people when you want? Y'all ain't gonna be out here making a fool in front of this money. That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants to be fools in front of this money.
We all about that money, right? So Atlanta would stand to gain a $687.5 million economic impact, and it's an estimate, over the next 11 SEC championships. So throwing 10 more available through the extension, and the SEC title game would be worth about $1.3 billion over 20 years. Yo, if you had $1.3 billion, what would you do?
F up some commas.
Shout out to future Vandross. And remember, if young Metro ain't trust you,
I'ma shoot you.
We gonna shoot you. We gonna shoot you. Not really. Not really. We don't have any guns for Big Brother out there. We don't have any guns. By the way, shout out to WhatsApp. We can now be spies on the low, but we can't. But we can't talk about guns on our pod without having Big Brother knocking on our door.
Hey,
America.
I ain't got no problem with none of that. I ain't got no problem. I'm like Atlanta. Once I gain this money, I'll talk about what y'all need. So to close it all,
the revolution will not be monetized.
Let's talk about the Western Conference standings for the NBA.
Right.
And we could be talking about the Warriors, who's sitting pretty at 69-8.
Really pretty.
Really, really pretty.
Right.
But the reason why the Warriors are there, and we could talk about other stuff, is because the Spurs right behind them.
Right.
Like, the Spurs grabbing onto their ankles.
Pause.
Ankles.
Pause.
So we keep it moving. The Spurs are at 64-12. And if you feel like, hey, that's kind of close, do remember the Spurs have beaten the Warriors.
Yep.
They didn't just like beat them.
They handily.
They handled them. A way that no other team has. Like every other team that has beaten them.
Other than the Trailblazers.
Well, yeah. Other than the Trailblazers. And the Celtics who...
And your Lakers. Remember your Lakers? Yeah, your Lakers.
That was an anomaly. That was like a phenomenon.
We kind of stuffed that in the back of our memories, right?
Nah, I gotta have fun to memory, but you know, right now we ain't talking about the Lakers because, you know, D'Angelo Russell, a.k.a. Point Rat, a.k.a. Point Snitch. Yeah, we ain't talking about the Lakers right now.
A.k.a. Point Big Brother, a.k.a. Point WhatsApp.
A.k.a. Point I'm gonna mess your marriage up.
A.k.a. Point Anti-Swaggy P.
But yeah, when you look at Western Conference, we have the Warriors first, Spurs at second, the Thunder third, Clippers fourth, the Grizzlies
somehow.
Dog, I know 3 people on the Grizzlies: Matt Gasol, Zach Randolph.
He's injured. He's out for the year. Ooh. So you know 2.
Zach out for the year?
Nah, Matt Gasol. He broke his leg.
I know 3. I just picked up another one. So Mike Conley and Matt, I drive to your house to fight you, Barnes.
Yes, sir. I don't know how they're doing this. I saw somewhere the other day, I think it was on The Score, that the Grizzlies have had an NBA record of signing 28 different players to play for them during the season. What are our chances on 10 of playing for the Grizzlies this year?
Well, my chances, I got a little short, so you know, my chances kind of low. But you both 6 feet, yeah, you can play for the Grizzlies.
I could hit corner threes.
And this is the thing, the Grizzlies are 5th, while being on a 6-game losing streak.
Dude,
they lost 6 games and they're still 5th. Like, what the hell is this?
I don't know what's going on. The Spurs, however, are streaking, setting an NBA record with their 38th straight home victory to open the season. And what's crazy about the Western Conference playoffs or the Western Conference race is that the Warriors could break a record winning 73 or even 74 games. That's mathematically in play here. And the Spurs could actually win 70. So we could have a 74 and a 70 win team in the same season. By the way, nobody is talking about the Spurs again. And they're about to win possibly 70 games.
But that's how the Spurs like it. That's their MO. They're gonna keep their head down. Pause. They're gonna play this basketball.
Dude, what's up with you and the Spurs? Holding ankles, head. What's up with that? Like, what?
I ain't gonna hate for the Spurs. I support the Spurs in all their endeavors, except when they're playing the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard. Like, I look at Kawhi Leonard playing, and he look like just some dude who just, you know, who like on the side of the court, just smoking a little bone, and you have to ask him if he want to play on your team. Like, you gotta be like, yo, you playing? And he's like, yeah. And then he goes on the court.
Do we actually know what Kawhi Leonard's voice sounds like?
That's how it sounds. Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Honestly, I don't think there's anything else he needs to say. Popovich look at him, hey, I need you to hit a 3. Yeah. He gets hit. I need you to go out there and play some of the best defense that we've seen from a small forward in the last 2 years since Tony Allen got injured. Yeah.
Yo, so speaking of Popovich, I saw something about Popovich, and he was talking about how much Kawhi Leonard talks, or rather how little. And he was like, he doesn't say much around here. I think I heard him say something in practice last week, but
yeah, sure.
But I kind of have to imagine how his voice sounds every now and again. So shout out to Pop, a.k.a. the Troll God, for letting us know
I'm just saying,
exactly how it's like in the Spurs.
The only people who looking at the Western Conference and honestly don't care is the Eastern Conference. Everybody but the Cavs, because they ain't gonna see none of them teams. Besides the Cavs And I don't trust Toronto. I love Toronto as a city. I don't trust the basketball team. Yeah. Y'all ain't seen the Spurs right now.
Shout out to 6666666, aka Carlos Brathwaite again. And we're gonna name drop you as often as is possible. Brathwaite, aka the new six guard.
Hey.
Yo, if I hear anybody calling Brathwaite the new six guard on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, please to give me that credit and tag us at Off the Bench Radio. Now, speaking of Off the Bench Radio, tell the people how they can follow us, X.
As usual, you could hit us up on Twitter, Off the Bench 100, because that's how we keep it.
Yep.
Instagram, at Off the Bench
Radio.
You can find us Off the Bench Radio. You can find us on Facebook. We just out here, like social media. Just look for us Off the Bench. And as usual, we close up with the shout-outs. Any shout-outs you got, Jebby?
Yeah, I want to shout out Carlos Brathwaite. I want to shout out And I want to shout out Carlos Brathwaite. And for those of you who are taking notes at home, that's 4 times, aka 4 sixes in your Makazima.
Hey, just want to shout out Delver, the Blue Devils people. 305, big up the man them in the 503 team on the inside. And that's a show right there for you.
Riley! Can't retire it, but Off the Bench Radio